guys? Welcome to another episode of the James Bond Retrospective. I'm Mark Bridge, and I'm here with Zach Wojner.
That's me.
And today's episode will be on the third Daniel Craig movie, Skyfall, which I think today is still the most successful
Oh yeah.
at the box
First,
office.
so far, only $1 billion Bond movie.
Yep. And I want to ask this before I forget because it's like a small thing. Was this the first Bond movie with an F bomb thrown in?
Yes.
I had to rewind it for a second. It was like M saying, "I fucked this up, didn't I?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" Rewind.
It's
Uh,
edgy.
so yeah, it's the most successful. It made $1.1 billion at the box office, um, and was directed by Sam Mendes, which continued the trend that I brought up with Quantum of Solace, where they brought in a filmmaker known for, I would like, not, I'm not gonna say auteur, but more than just a journeyman filmmaker. Granted, Martin Campbell did a bunch of stuff in between his two Bond movies, but I count Martin Campbell as being a Bond director. Like, first time you really heard about this dude is GoldenEye. So, but as far as bringing in an outsider who has done sort of prestige films, this continues the trend with Sam Mendes, who did Road to Perdition, American Beauty.
American Pie.
No, it's American Beauty. uh, American Beauty. What else did he do? He did Revolutionary Road. I think that's the one with Kate Winslet, isn't it? Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Leo.
And Leo, bringing them back from their Titanic days. 1917 was a dope movie, man. The one shotter, a movie that's just one take. Well, illusion of just one being one take.
Yeah, it's okay.
But yeah, this will be Sam Mendes' first of two Bond movies. He did this one, and he does the other movie, Spectre. So, Skyfall. This is what I would consider the Goldfinger of the Daniel Craig movies.
And that
Where
it's
it's
tremendously overrated.
or just like a standalone sort of adventure.
Oh, that yes.
And I think this was probably the longest until No Time to Die, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of runtime.
Um,
Or maybe that was
on Her
on Her
Majesty's
Majesty's
Secret
Secret
Service might be
Service.
longer, but
Probably. Yeah. So, uh, before we get into the plot stuff, the actors, Daniel Craig's, back as well as usual.
is that Daniel Craig? Because it looks like Daniel Craig's like dad.
Well, I mean, the role of
Like
Bond
every
ages
actor
you
has like a time. We see it with Sean, where just all of a sudden he's aged 10 years.
yeah, it's that liquor, man. That liquor does
Yeah,
that to you.
well, what the heck is Daniel Craig doing? Is it HGH?
Nah, it's that liquor and testosterone, man.
Is Daniel Craig a drinker?
Well, his character is, I guess. I don't know
Well, yeah,
if
but
he's.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know
he's
if
that
Danny.
method.
I don't know if, or maybe just the stress of being Bond, because I think it was right around this time, or maybe after this, where you know you started to do those interviews where he's talking about how much the role is stressful, and almost as if
Yeah,
giving the
I
indication
still
that
think
he's done with Bond. You know what I mean?
I think those were just to get
But
them to pay him more money.
salary
Yeah,
increase stuff.
like I don't
And
think any of the conditions for making a Bond movie were as difficult as they were on Quantum of Solace
probably,
for him.
uh, yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, he just looks very different, and part of it might also be stylistically because, like you said, we've got a new director who has their own take.
Yeah.
And so instead of, and it's weird because Sam Mendes' take is basically a reboot within a reboot,
Right.
where the whole story now is that Bond is old, even though he's not old.
Yeah. I mean, it did. I think I probably first time I saw the movie, I probably thought about that too. Where in just 2 movies ago, it was like his beginning, and now we're sort of like now in the Twilight era. But then the first movie, what, 2006, 2008 for the second, and then this was 2012. Was it?
Yeah, it's only four
So
years.
yeah, yeah.
Roger Moore went to space in that time. He was fine.
Well, I guess. I guess once you're in like any kind of military service or investigative service, stuff like that, it ages you. So it's like once you're like 4 or 5 years in, now you're considered a veteran. Um, and I guess the movie reflected that.
Excuses.
And I can imagine,
Excuses.
just the idea of, because when we get a James Bond movie, it's a particular case, but I can imagine that he's been on several missions in between. I think at least in between Quantum of Solace and Skyfall, because Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace is kind of like one big movie. Um, while there's definitely a time jump between Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. So if you want to say like, I guess to you know, be generous about the stylistic choice of having him play that old grizzly Bond, is that he's been on some shit. He's seen some shit. You know what I mean? Between those movies. Um,
Yeah, I think it's just Sam Mendes wanting to like. Maybe he didn't see the last two movies.
Probably not. I don't know. Or
Maybe he thought it was. Maybe he thought it was still Pierce Brosnan, and then he walks onto set one day and he's like, "Wait, who's this guy?" And he's like, I'm Daniel Craig. I'm James Bond." Like, oh boy, are we gonna have to rewrite the script? Nah, don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
So Neil Purvis and Robert Wade is back for the writing duties, and this time they're joined by John Logan, which I actually love some of his work. Rango was dope.
Oh, I
Gladiator was
like that
dope.
movie.
Um, the Aviator, I love the Aviator. Sweeney Todd, I think I've probably seen once. I guess it was okay. What else did he do? Oh, he was showrunner and creator, I believe, on the Penny Dreadful series, which I have to go back to, because I think I only watched the first 2 seasons. I never saw the last one. And he is the writer of the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic, and that's the only time I'll say anything about Mike.
Antoine Fuqua, what did you walk into? You're not ready.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, John Logan has done. He's wrote some pretty cool um, films. Yeah, in the past too, like The Last Samurai. That's a dope movie, and Any Given Sunday is one of my favorites. Um, so yeah, that's the writing team, and doing the music is Thomas Newton, who is
Uh,
he Newman. It's Thomas Newman, who does a lot of Sam Mendes movies. Um,
yeah, which is basically the only reason they didn't get David Arnold because
yeah,
Sam Mendes wanted it to be all his. That's
yeah.
why it ignores all continuity prior. Uh, why it completely derails everyone's characterization. Um, and it's all in the service of this one particular story, which works well in this story. Doesn't work so well when you look at the five Craig movies as a whole.
All right.
Um, but regardless, as far as the music goes, I don't know, it's fine. I do think that it's very jarring at times how when they um, shoehorn the Bond theme in every once in a while.
All right.
It's not as natural as in the David Arnold days. Um, like there's the famous the latest from Q Brunch. It's a radio. When the helicopters show up to arrest Silva and the triumphant Bond theme plays, and it's just so out of place in that moment. Like, no, stop.
Really?
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be
because
that's the
he
appropriate
just
place?
killed the lady, and she's still on screen, just being dead while the music plays.
I mean, it's clear that he didn't really give a shit about her, and his main objective was to capture Silva. So the triumphant music played when the helicopter was like, it's the you know bait and switch. He's pretends to be captured and says, "Oh, by the way, I'm not alone," and shows the thing. So it's like triumphant. Yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
was appropriate.
but that but that's Silva's whole plan, because this movie is Batman, is to get captured,
Right.
and for everything to work right to the exact second, which makes absolutely zero sense. But whatever. Um, like his plan is for Q to be so stupid as to plug his computer into the MI6 servers, which like even I know not to do. I don't know jack about computers. But the plot demands it, so he has to do it.
Yeah, I guess. um. All right. And then additional to the cast. Well, what's her name? Judy Dench returns as M, and
A
now
new
we
M.
and Ralph Fiennes will eventually take over
Or no,
towards
I'm
the end of the
saying
movie.
Judy Dench's M is like a new M,
Oh, you mean
because
she's really?
she's kind of unrecognizable compared to the last two.
In what ways? You mean?
Like this, her character's just like way different, you know.
Hmm. Interesting. I didn't see that. Like she was still cold towards Bond while still obviously him being her favorite, but like she tries to be, I guess, disapproving of Bond, knowing that even in his rebellious ways he'll get the job done. Yeah, I think that's a carryover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Um, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I would say makes her completely different, which I was going to bring up as part of the topic of Bond girls, is that this movie, I think, bucks the trend of what you would consider a Bond girl. Well, not entirely, because you do have the introduction of one Bond girl who dies. Um, but I would say this is probably either the only one or one of the few, because I don't remember all of them, that has at least three Bond girls. You have the Berenice Malone. I think that's how I pronounce her name. She plays Severine, Silva's mistress, lover. Um, Gorgeous woman, by the way. I saw her in this movie called 5 to 7, um, opposite Anton Yelchin, who's in Star Trek. Well, he passed away, R.I.P. Um, where she's like 30 years, no, sorry, 10 years his senior. And they have sort of this relationship, even though she's married. It's very sexy, sort of comedy drama ish romantic film. I liked it. It's pretty good. But anyway, she plays the one of the Bond girls, but she eventually dies by the hands of Silva. Brutal scene. It's like shocking almost. Um,
Yeah, and then 10 seconds later, you've got the Bond theme. Hey, it's called a radio, dumbass.
yeah, I guess that's to show that Bond doesn't give a
Da-da-da-da.
fuck. Ever since
No, well, but
Green,
except
ever
he
since
does. It's like every time he does, and he has, but he does it here because I think Sam Mendes just doesn't want this version of Bond to. I I don't know. I think that Sam Mendes just has this fundamental misunderstanding slash even contempt for Bond, and found himself making a Bond movie, and
okay,
this I just disagree with so many of his choices.
understood. Um, and then you have the second Bond girl, uh, Eve. Is that her name? Eve Moneypenny. Is that her name? First
Yep.
name is Eve.
Yep.
So we have our introduction of Moneypenny, finally in the Craig movies. And she, in the one film, I think she's done more in the plot than any previous Bond films before that. And I mean, I think even the first time I saw this movie, I was like, wow, that was pretty interesting. I like that, you know? And it also shows, in a way, how you would still have the will they, won't they of their dynamic, in the way how they kind of interacted with each other, and I dug it. It's pretty cool.
My
And
conspiracy theory is that she was supposed to be a secret villain.
hmm, that would be interesting.
And in the next movie, there's so much hubbub about the movie being rewritten, and there's some stories about Monica Bellucci having been secret Blofeld, uh,
Hmm.
or M. Rafe Fiennes being secret M. I think Moneypenny secret villain,
Hmm.
because the whole plot of this movie makes no freaking sense if you look at it like with any degree of intensity. Just the whole thing falls apart because the whole movie just wouldn't happen if she didn't shoot Bond off the bridge or off the train.
Right.
So that means she has to have shot him on purpose.
Hmm. Or it's
Just the whole
just,
thing makes no sense.
I mean,
Like it's so many contrivances and coincidences, and
that's
so
typical
much
for a
wanting
Bond
to be
movie,
the
though. I don't,
Joker.
I don't see like
Nah.
every Bond movie had a contrived plot that if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened, and then that wouldn't have happened. It's like all of it is kind of like dominoes setting up, dominoes kicking down type plots. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
but
if,
the
like
dominoes
if
here
we,
are like each connected to like a Rube Goldberg machine.
okay, I mean, I guess I just didn't sort of mind because it's like the
Like
idea
what
of
like
him
what would
getting
have
shot.
happened if after he gets shot. Well, first of all, he gets shot twice in the beginning. He gets shot by the depleted uranium shell.
Yeah.
Great for an assassin to use such easily traceable rounds. Um, like what if after he washes up wherever he washes up, instead of pretending to be dead for however many weeks or months it is, he just immediately goes back on the case, takes the bullets out of his chest, traces them, finds Patrice, kills him before Silva blows up MI6. Like, what if he cuts off that thread before it's
Maybe
even
maybe
unraveled? Then he would have
Silva's
to have a whole new plan.
maybe Silva's plan would have sped up at that point. Because I'm
Yeah,
assuming
maybe.
Silva got
Excuses.
the knock list, knock list from Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. Anyway, I'm sure he got the list right away, and he just sort of baited his time to enact the first phase, which was blowing up the MI6, he probably would have sped that process up, or I don't know, did something else, like maybe switch some of the plans around. I'm spitballing here, but at the end of the day, I really didn't, really
Yeah,
none of
and
that
well, because
stuff really bothered me.
at the end of the day, it's just to make him the Joker,
Probably.
complete with the jail cell.
Chelsea breakout.
Um, yeah, it's
Yeah.
freaking stupid.
Then our third Bond girl, which I found very interesting, I don't think any other Bond film did this, was making M the other Bond girl. She was the Bond girl. Because the traits of a Bond girl is that either you die halfway through the film, or become a villain, or, which is the main uh, trait of a Bond girl, is they pretty much accompany Bond towards the climax of the movie. Whether they live or they die at the end is up in the air, but at least they're a part of the climax of the film. And Judi Dench's M was definitely fits that bill where, towards the end of the movie where they're at the shootout at Skyfall, she's very much a part of that scene. Um, so I name her a Bond girl. I don't know if anybody else would categorize her as a Bond girl in this film,
I would
considering
not,
that
but
she's
I get
M.
what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, this also, the fact that Money Penny was also a Bond girl in this movie, this was not playing with the same deck of cards. Now, some of those cards you didn't like, some of them I didn't mind, I guess. But this is one of those movies, I guess, in the Bond saga that tried to do something different. Whether it worked or not is in the eyes of the beholder. Um, and then now you have Javier Bardem
He's
as
good.
Silva. No, what? Okay, so what did you think of his, regardless of the plot and the similarities between Dark Knight? How did you think Javier played the character?
I like him a lot. Like his opening scene. I don't like that it takes more than an hour to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this movie is so wound up in its plot that sometimes it has to take shortcuts when it comes to the characters.
Right.
But but I love his opening scene, big long monologue about rats eating each other in one shot while he's walking from the way background of the shot to
Yeah.
the foreground until it's I think like an actual straight up close up.
Yeah.
You know cameras and lenses and all that, so you can tell me what that is. But the I like that they give him a dynamic with Bond that's not the traditional GoldenEye slash Mission Impossible 2. He's like Bond but bad. It's
Right.
like he's kind of like Bond, but he's older and his specialty isn't that stuff. It's computer stuff. So
Yeah.
he's similar but very different in some ways. Uh, he's kind of camp gay, but that might just be entirely put on to to put Bond on edge,
Right.
or it could just be a simple gays and their moms thing.
But it
Uh,
also implies, especially that scene, that Bond, it's not his first rodeo when it comes to possibly being intimate with same sex. I don't know if it was implying that.
I think people dig too much into that. I think that it's mostly him just refusing to be uh, made uncomfortable.
So you think he was basically just bluffing?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
maybe not. Who knows? I mean, he's a hedonistic guy. Gets around.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hanging out in the Philippines. You know,
True. Um, yeah, he definitely played um, one of the more impactful villains, and unlike with some of the most memorable Bond villains, he has a quirk, which is the cyanide ripped his whole jaw structure
yeah,
apart, so he has to
amazing
wear.
visual with that.
Yeah, Yeah, so you have to wear like not only fake teeth, but like the whole jaw has to be reconstructed like a fake one. So when he takes it out, he looks like a goddamn walking corpse. Um, Pretty dope. Uh, for some reason, I thought, I guess it's one of those Mandela effects of like you saw the movie such a long time ago that you had it in your head that one of the things he used to escape was the jaws where he like used it to like rip over the glass or some shit. I had that in my head for some reason. I was like, oh, I guess I made that whole shit up in my head because it didn't really show how he got out, which is one of those. I think probably that was one of the laziest parts of it. If I had to
Well, no,
nitpick about something,
when they know that they've been hacked, all of the doors in the facility open.
open. Oh, okay, got you. I thought he did something specifically to the one door. Like, why would that
Now that was like the
one,
hack.
like
That
one?
was the purpose of the hack.
Okay. All right. Yeah, yeah. That scene. I guess your drawback to that scene is like everything felt convenient. But if I had to just sort of separate myself from the convenience of the scene, the intensity of it, of him just hunting down, like his main purpose is just to get vengeance on M. I mean, it's simplified. It's not a big like, oh, I want to take over the world. He really just wants to kill M. This is
Yeah, and
main
it's
plot.
hilarious because he has this whole, outrageous method of getting out of jail, which involves putting himself into jail,
Yeah,
or MI6 secret jail that's underground, which is why he had to blow up MI6, because he had to blow up MI6 to put them in the underground system.
yeah,
Um, so that was all part of his plan as well. Um, and then escape through the subways and timing everything right so that he can distract Bond with a moving train, with a train crash, which is a very exciting train crash. And I'm sure the train operator is fine. Um, but then the end of it is just getting two guys with handguns and storming the courthouse.
If I had to, and my friend accuses me of doing this all the time, where I'm writing the movie, writing the movie for them. If I had to put a motivation on why I go through such an elaborate plan, was that he wanted it to be as theatrical as possible. Because simply just walking up to her and killing her wouldn't be enough. He wanted to destroy her church, which is MI6, and all her disciples, right before putting an end to her, knowing that like he was her favorite and he felt abandoned, so he wants to use the very skilled that he utilized for her against her. Um,
He could have brought a bigger gun. Could have bring a machine gun.
it would have been too
You hit
easy.
you
It's
hit
just
more stuff with a machine gun.
it would
He
have been
brought a
too easy.
handgun. He brought a Glock or a whatever. Oh, that actually reminds me. Correction. I have a correction for an earlier episode. If
Uh-huh.
you want, you could put this at the beginning of the episode. Um, we talked about what gun Daniel Craig used at the end of Casino Royale to shoot Mr. White,
Right,
and I said it was probably an MP5.
right.
Turns out it is a UMP9.
Ah,
What does that mean? I don't know.
I don't
Is it
know.
like an MP5? Probably.
Probably.
But there you go.
um,
And well, because in this whole scene, everyone's got handguns. The
yeah.
cops they have little handguns. Bond's got his
Walter PPK.
PPK, which I'm glad that he returned to that in Quantum of Solace. In Casino Royale, he still had the P99
Mm-hmm.
from Tomorrow Never Dies, second half onward.
Right.
Which, while a cool gun, isn't a stealthy Bond type gun because it's so big.
Yeah.
You can't fit that in your jacket pocket the way you can the PPK. So I'm glad that he has that back. But my point is, if you're gonna storm the castle, you're gonna want a big gun. Bring big guns.
What? Oh, you mean you're talking about the court
They
scene?
got
We're
the
not talking about the Skyfall
yeah
scene, right? court scene. Okay, okay. Because when he said
Yeah,
castle, I was
yeah.
like,
If
wait
he
a
if
second.
he if he had brought the tech that he used in at the end in the Skyfall scene,
Well, that would have been.
then
He
he
wouldn't
probably
have
would
been
have
able
been
to
able to kill
escape.
everyone.
Yeah, he would
Yeah.
have killed anyone, but he wouldn't have been able to escape if he brought such heavy weaponry. Because then they'll
I
probably
mean, did
just
he ever
send.
plan on escaping in the first place?
I
Because
mean,
because at the end, he's like, "Hey, M, you should shoot yourself with this gun, but the bullet will kill me too. We can die together. It'll be great."
I think that's just him. Well, you know what? You're right. He probably did want to just die at the end too.
Because it
Like,
makes no
yeah.
sense.
Because I think it's more like just a. Again, this is a movie that's bucking the trend of a bad guy
Yeah,
trying
but
to.
you can make no sense and be like a silly Bond movie, which is fine because you're a silly Bond movie. You're not supposed to take it that seriously. But if you want to be Christopher Nolan, look at how gray everything is. Look, we shot this scene in silhouette. We got Roger Deakins.
No, no,
Look at the
that was
emphasis
one of
we
the
have.
best parts. That was one of the best parts of the movie, though. You can't take that
That's
away
fine.
from that movie. It's the
Look, we've got
cinematography was
so many
amazing.
great close-ups on Daniel Craig's blue eyes. Look how serious we are. Then you can't have such a stupid plot.
Um,
It's still good though.
yeah.
It's still like, still Bond.
uh, so yeah, I mean, going back to Roger Deakins' cinematography. Now I think right around this time is when he developed this visual language with all his other movies with a lot of the colors, the same colors, like sort of silhouette and blues, greens, high contrast with like a lot of oranges. You saw a lot of that in Blade Runner and um, what was the other one he did too? I completely forgot. But yeah, I
He's
just
done a
like
bunch of movies.
yeah, yeah. But I like the colors of this movie, the color palette, especially in that skyscraper scene in Shanghai. Um, I think
Oh
that
yeah, I
just looks
definitely
so
gave my
gorgeous.
OLED TV a workout, which I
Yeah,
appreciated.
yeah.
Love
Um,
HDR.
nice. Yeah, that movie was that scene was incredible. So yeah, and then another introduction is our new quartermaster, our new Q, played
Ugh.
by Ben Wishaw. First movie,
Paddington.
yeah, well, the first movie I saw him in, I didn't even know he did the voice right of Paddington.
Yep.
Um, but the first movie I actually saw him in was Cloud Atlas. Which I love.
Ah.
And he gets a bad rap. I actually like that movie. Um, yeah, and then so and
Hey,
there's no
yeah,
elaborate.
Q.
There
Yeah,
wasn't an
yeah.
elaborate
Here,
scene.
here we go. I mean, you set him up, and I'll keep on knocking him away. It's like you're doing free throws, and I'm like Shaq or whoever who's just like no, jumping up and knocking the free throws away. Uh, like why even have Q if you're gonna make him A, an idiot, and B, contemptuous of the very thing that Q is known for?
What
What were
technology?
you expecting? An exploding pen? From that much better movie that actually enjoyed being a Bond movie? Like, no, we'll have a couple of jokes about radio.
Right.
And by the yeah, we don't do exploding pens from that old movie. By the way, here's your handgun. It's from License to Kill with the the palm recognition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, did it have the dots in License to Kill? I don't think so.
I don't even
I
remember.
don't think it's like exactly the same, but it's the general idea is the
Yeah.
same. Um, and it's just like I hate where movies plots depend on characters being out of character. No computer expert who, Q spends half of his runtime explaining how he's the smartest at computers, how he invented these encryption codes, whatever's. And then he gets a bad guy computer, and just goes, "Oh, let me plug this into our system." Like, that's dumb. That is an out of character thing that even someone as not computer savvy as me would know not to do. And Q, who's supposed to be the expert at computers in the world, doesn't do it. Doesn't follow common sense.
Yeah, I guess we're
Ugh.
dealing with a flawed Q.
Dealing with a flawed script. Just have one of Q's guy have like one of the MI6 guys like plug it in themselves. Have Moneypenny do it because she's a secret bad guy.
um, but I don't know. Q wasn't in. I think that was his only scene, right, in the art museum. Oh, actually, and in the subway.
Yeah,
Um,
and then he leaves the trail of breadcrumbs for Silva to follow
right, right,
to go to Skyfall.
right. And then we had our big showdown at the Skyfall, and you had Albert Finney as Kincaid. Now, I don't know how true that this was, but it being the 50th anniversary, um, you had the old Aston Martin coming back. Um, Word on the street is that they were trying to get Sean Connery to play that character to sort of like close the loop. But Sean declined, so they got Albert Finney.
I'm glad he did because that would have taken all the attention away from Daniel Craig.
Right.
And Albert Finney kind of already does that. Um, yeah, I actually I do like I like him. I like the last like 40 minutes of this movie or however long it is.
Right.
Everything at Skyfall I like a lot. Um, sometimes I have issues when they get too deep into like the actual history
Mm-hmm.
of Bond. But I think that this movie does a really good job of articulating some of his history, explaining a little bit of his childhood without like having extensive flashbacks or stuff like that, or just like endless monologues about why he is the way he is.
So
Like,
remind me again. His parents died when he was young, and they died
yeah,
at Skyfall. They were killed
they
at
died in a
Skyfall.
climbing accident.
A climax. Okay. And
Like they
then
just died in a rich people accident.
so, because I know Kincaid was talking to M and said he found Bond hiding, I guess, in a little small cellar in at Skyfall. He was just hiding because he was pissed. Sorry, he was sad about his parents' death. Right, it wasn't because he
Yeah.
was hiding from some criminal organization.
No, 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 no.
Okay,
No, they died in an accident, probably on a vacation on a holiday. Um, and
or
he
maybe it
says
was.
when I told him they found, yeah, I'm sure the next movie will be like it was your brother all along. Like, um, well, we'll get there, but no, he doesn't meet the Oberhausers until after his parents die.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's like the underground tunnels. They call it a priest hole. I don't know why or what it actually means, but it's just like fancy houses have secret passages.
Nice. Yeah. So we have our big climax, the Skyfall. That's where he brings all the guns, bring all the toys. It's like Take him
Right. Oh,
down.
wait. Sorry, just to finish my point from before. Um, I like that the movie gives us a little bit of insight without spelling everything out,
Yeah.
and it, you know, if there's still like a handful of people out there who don't understand the basics of continuity, basics of the character of James Bond, this movie says, "Hey, it's not a code name, dorks."
And then probably if they brought in Sean Connery, it would have facilitated that theory even more. It's like
Yeah, it could be like,
Sean
"This is
Connery
my
was
ancestral
his
home."
yeah, he would be like he's Kincaid, but he was formerly James Bond.
Yeah, yeah, and these are his parents or whatever. Um, and yeah, I'm on one hand, if you have the opportunity to put Sean in your movie, do it.
Yeah,
But on the other, I think it would have overshadowed just not just the movie, but the entire Daniel Craig era
right.
would be known as the one where Sean Connery came back one last time. And there's also like if you bring him back, you kind of have to bring everyone back.
Like the old Miss. Well, was Miss Money,
No,
the
no, no.
older
Like
Miss?
like you'd have to bring back Roger Moore
Oh, right,
and
right.
Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan. Like it wouldn't be fair if it was just him.
Well, I mean,
But
he's the
I get
first.
wanting,
He's
yeah,
the.
I get wanting to do something for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, he would have
Um,
been like the first, and wasn't the Aston Martin his that specific one?
yeah, but it had been in many of them.
Well, and it has it.
It was introduced in Goldfinger,
Yeah, but
but
did it make it over to Roger Moore's one, like that specific model?
Roger Moore never drove it. I don't believe so.
Yeah, so that was
Um, in fact, Roger Moore did do a lot of things in his tenure, like in an effort to not replicate
right.
Sean Connery. Like Roger Moore never ordered for himself a vodka martini shaken not stirred because that was Sean's thing. But then afterwards, they were like, forget about it. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
But like Pierce Brosnan drove around in the the DB5, and even in Casino Royale, he got a DB5 from the the guy whose wife he bangs.
yeah,
The card game.
yeah, yeah. Well, Sam has a
But Sam didn't
little
see
bit.
that movie, so
Yeah, Sam at least gives a little bit of love to a Bond car. The Bond car does a little bit of stunt work. Does get blown the fuck up though, like Martin Campbell does. I think Martin Campbell hates the Bond car more than Sam. Sam does. But, um, so I would
if
say
you're gonna get a car, we'll smash it.
yeah. So I would give Sam the edge, where he at least made the Bond car do some cool stuff before he got blown up. Um. Oh yeah, and so M dies at the end of this movie. She gets shot. So Judy Dench's tenure as M comes to a close. This began in was it was GoldenEye was her first movie, right? Her first.
Yep. I
So
hear
yeah,
the new M is a lady.
yeah. So the even though technically her M from this movie isn't the same M from the Pierce movies, but it does wrap up her role as M in the 50th anniversary of the Bond films, and then I guess traditional male M approaches as it should be. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to be anti woke,
Hey,
and I hate
whoa,
it.
hey.
I hate it. Um,
And turns out we've been picked up by the Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah, we're part of that network now.
oh my god.
I would
Um,
rather be broke.
exactly. Um, those fucking guys, man, they sold their souls. They're gonna reap what they sow. Watch. Anyway, don't let me get started on those fuckers. Um, we didn't mention this when we were talking about the music, but theme song, Adele, Skyfall.
Yeah, it's fine.
It, I guess for me, it's, you know what, since I guess GoldenEye. Even though I love The World Is Not Enough as a theme song, but like GoldenEye, Goldfinger, um, those are the type of traditional Bond songs that you know, and I think Skyfall kind of falls within that wheelhouse of like, very operatic, brass powered um, theme song, Bond song. It sounds like a very traditional Bond song, but it was really dope. Like her voice, is a spectacular voice. So like she can belt a tune or two.
Yeah, it's fine.
Not one of your favorites, I take it.
Eh, middle of the road for me.
All right. And
Yeah,
I guess the opening
it's
sequence, you know, didn't bring the sex appeal. I guess for a couple of shots, you see a little, some women here and there, but
it's got some skin in there.
yeah, but it's still mainly focused, as the Craig era um introduced, is like, let's do a lot more seeing Bond himself in the opening uh,
Yeah.
visuals. This is pretty interesting. Um, so yeah, what else can we say about this flicker show?
It's pretty good. I complain about it. There's a lot of stuff I don't like in it, but when you're watching it, it's like 2.5 hours and they fly by pretty quick.
Right, right.
Um, it's like I say about Christopher Nolan movies. Is it a smart movie for dumb people or a dumb movie for smart people? And the answer is yes. And Skyfall falls very much into that wheelhouse where it looks A tier. It's secretly got a D tier script. It's way more focused on the plot than the characters.
Well, what's
But it
interesting
does
about
have but it does have great character moments here and there.
yeah, what's interesting about sort of the approach to this movie is the kind of Ouroboros effect of Christopher Nolan being influenced by Bond films, so you kind of see a lot of Bond esque in his, particularly his later work. Not so much in his earlier stuff, but like once he and Hans Zimmer and them starting to do sort of these epic tales, you kind of saw a lot of, um, Bond uh, aesthetic in his films, and then Sam Mendes kind of like ape a lot of Christopher Nolan aesthetic to his Bond movie. So it's like that Ouroboros stick eating his own tail kind of thing, or it's like maybe
Yeah,
it's
I don't.
Inception.
I've never seen American Beauty, and I don't remember Road to Perdition as much to say, you know, how much of his style,
Yeah,
how much
that's
of those movies reflect his style,
yeah. Their
versus
American
Nolan.
Beauty is, I mean, just by the genre itself that American Beauty fits in, you wouldn't necessarily have, cinematic framings of characters. It's just basically more of a one of those sort of
Domestic drama.
yeah, I mean, that kind of framing. Road to Perdition, which is more of a genre based in a comic book, but it's a period piece, so it kind of lends itself more to that era than anything epic about it. I think, I mean, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think Skyfall, when he really took over Skyfall, is when he got into his more cinematic bag. You know what I mean? Um, like every other movies previous to Skyfall was relatively low budget, you know, sort of understated. You know, like Skyfall really just is his epic, the beginning of him doing his epic, um, and you could see a lot of similarities, like you mentioned. You know, Dark Knight, the way how he shot it, it was just like a Christopher Nolan movie, and Christopher Nolan being heavily influenced by the Bond series is, you know, he's just like this weird kind of Ouroboros effect.
Did Roger Deakins do The Dark Knight?
No, that was he worked with him for the cinematography on that one, worked with Chris for a while, but then he went and directed his own picture, but he never went back with Chris. Can't believe I forgot his name because I remember him shitting on the first Avengers movie. I was like, ah, what a pretentious fuck. Um, Give me a second, let me find it. Alright.
Well, my point is that without Roger Deakins, Skyfall would not be remembered nearly as fondly.
Probably. Wally Pfister is his name. Wally Pfister
Ah,
did
okay.
all of Chris's movie up until The Dark Knight Rises, and then after that he went his separate ways. Um, I don't think he did.
Oh, yeah, it's a fine movie. You know, it's I hate I don't want to say well it's a good movie, but it's not a good James Bond movie. Yeah. But you know, because James Bond movie could be anything. You know, I
Yeah.
think that there are examples of Bond movies that go way outside the lines that are much more successful in my eyes. Um, like you know, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and we haven't gotten there yet. I don't know how you feel about it, but No Time to Die. Um, and Skyfall to me just it feels like square pegs and round holes, and it's just
So
I don't know. It just doesn't mesh for me.
would you consider Skyfall one of, if not the weakest of the Bond films? Like overall, not just
No.
Daniel Craig.
Overall, no, no. They're they. I mean, we live in a world where diamonds are
I
forever.
was about to ask you, do you think Diamonds is worse than Skyfall?
Diamonds are forever. Um, Live and Let Die. I mean, for me personally, I'd put it in a lower tier,
Right.
but definitely not the bottom tier because it's just a good movie, irrespective of itself.
And what would you rank it? Even though we haven't finished Craig's movies, but I guess we're pretty much halfway done.
Yeah,
We only have two more
we
movies.
should do a tier list at the end.
Uh, would you,
Um,
or are you ready to state if it's the worst of the Craig movies?
no, because they're like it's kind of neck and neck with Quantum of Solace right
Right.
now. Um, you know, there's things that Quantum does that I like, things that Quantum doesn't do that I don't like.
Right.
I guess that's the difference is that Quantum of Solace, I'm upset by the things that it doesn't do. And with Skyfall, I'm upset by the things that it does.
Okay.
But we'll have to wait and see how Spectre shakes out.
Yeah.
I have very mixed memories of Spectre, liking a lot of that movie and disliking a lot of that movie.
So
So I'm looking forward to see how I feel about it next week.
I can officially say that when I watch Spectre for this podcast will be the second time I watch Spectre. And I can same will go for No Time to Die. It will be my second time watching No Time to Die. So the next two
Oh,
movies will be my second viewing, which will be pretty interesting. And you know what's funny? When I did see No Time to Die, because I only saw Spectre that one time, I had a hard time remembering the plot points of Spectre, knowing that how connected Spectre is to No Time to Die. So it was like I had to like catch up. I was like, oh, I completely even forgot. Spoilers. That uh, what's her name? I don't even remember her name, but she's the
Madeline
daughter.
Madeline Swan.
Yeah, that she's the daughter of Mr. White. I actually forgot that whole plot point. Um, but yeah, can't wait to get to those two. And the next two movies will be something. So like it's mirroring the first five films of Sean Connery's Bond films. Where the first two were connected, third was a standalone, and then the next two are connected. Um, so yeah,
Sort of.
we'll see what
I mean,
Avenger.
bird's eye view, yes, but
Yeah. Yep.
there's a lot going on there.
All right. So as we stated, Spectre is our next movie. Skyfall to me was, I think, still an enjoyable movie despite I guess me being, and it's maybe just me, like not being sort of too handcuffed to contrivances of plots. Like when somebody says, "Man, it felt too contrived," I'm like, "Bro, that's movies. You contrive a plot." But anyway, hey, I'm not too um, handcuffed to the idea that you must hide your the illusion of your contrivances properly in order to for me to enjoy a movie. I really don't subscribe to that whole philosophy. So I guess that's why I enjoy a lot more movies than a lot of my peers. But yeah, I dug it. It felt as epic as the box office would suggest it is. I love Roger Deakins' cinematography. It's a gorgeous movie. Gorgeous ladies. Naomi Harris as Moneypenny was beautiful. Bernice was beautiful, and hey, she's a looker.
She holds up.
Yeah, and then I like the cool settings that they went to throughout this movie. Shanghai, especially. Like anytime I notice filmmakers want to create like a futuristic city, they shoot in Shanghai. I was like, yo, that place is fucking gorgeous. I'd actually like to go there. But I'm sure like behind the prettiness lies a fucking demonic government, which, as always, what's new. Um, but
I have no comment. I'm sponsored by China. They're sending me all the milk, the Transformers milk.
yeah, you don't want to be on Xi Jinping's bad side, so yeah, you best
I
behave,
love Winnie
son.
the Pooh.
Wait, is Winnie the Pooh China related?
There's a bit about how Xi Jinping looks like Winnie the Pooh,
Yeah.
which he does not like.
Okay. Understood. Right. So yeah. So I like it. You tolerate it. You don't dislike the
Yeah,
movie, but
I understand that
it's
I'm in the minority
yeah,
opinion. I mean, the movie made $1 billion. It's
yeah.
pretty beloved. I think maybe more like maybe more hardcore Bond fans. It might be more divisive
Yeah,
among
yeah.
them. Um, and I do consider myself a hardcore Bond fan.
Hmm.
Um, but I can't argue with the things that it does right. There's a lot of things that it does right, but there's also a lot of things that piss me off,
Yeah,
and I can't excuse those just because it overall a lot of it comes out in the wash. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's fine.
All right, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Um, can't wait to get to Spectre. It being my second watch and all, so it might as well be my goddamn first, because movie came out in 2015 and I haven't seen it since. So 10 years ago. So
Got Batista.
um, yeah, yeah, and it introduces to the next important Bond girl ever since Eva Green's um, character. So I'm excited. All right. So where can people find you at?
You can find me at my name on social media. You can figure it out. And you can read my work at Game Daily and TV Squad, a couple other places. And I'm actually going to be starting work at a new place soon. Hopefully by the end of this podcast series, I can reveal where that is.
Awesome. Nice. Um, as for me, you can find me at Instagram and TikTok at Mark Obridge. You can find a link in the description to my comic book, Mana Kingdoms. Issue 1 and 2 are now out. Also, in the link in the description, find my comedy series, I'm a Good Wife, on Tubi. And head over to my other channel, Omega World Entertainment, where you can find some of my short films and music videos that I've done. Um, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And next week, we'll be talking about Spectre. I can't wait. So until next time, folks, I want to say peace.
Indeed.